What's up, guys? It's Timothy2009, and I'm back with another video. Now, it's been like a few days since the last video I posted, and the month is almost over, so I thought I would make it special by doing one more video, or at least two more videos, depending on, if I have time, but all I know is that this might be the last video I do this month, and next month I'm going to have something special for the very first day, because I'm pretty sure you all know what holiday April is, and tomorrow is Easter on a Sunday, so makes sense. But anyways, I'm going to be doing another N-Scale Thomas the Tank Engine review. So we took a look at Harvey, one of my favorite characters from Season 6. But I thought I'd make this review more special because I'm going to be doing a ton of characters that the Thomas fandom seems to really love. That's right, we're doing fan favorite engines. Or at least engines who are loved the most. Now, there's going to be a couple of fan favorites on this list, but then there might be some engines on here that I don't know if they are considered favorites or fan favorites, but I'm sure if they are, you probably would tell me in the comments below since you know more about Thomas than I do. I mean, I know a lot about the show and what happens in it, but there's a lot of lore behind the production, how the show is made, and all the stories behind it and how they were created. So, without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. So this is going to be a review on all the fan favorite Thomas and Friends characters. So let's get one character obviously out of the way. Duck the Great Western Engine. Now, in my honest opinion, I think Duck, while I can understand why some people really love Duck, honestly, I love Duck as much as the next person, but there's some aspects to Duck that do kind of confuse me. So, Duck is only known for, saying, there are two ways of doing things, the Great Western Way or the wrong way. I mean, yeah, but that's all he ever talks about. And not to mention, well, I do think his Pannier tank engine design is pretty awesome. This is based off of a real-life engine, by the way. I mean, there's a million Pannier tank engines, so to make, does Duck really consider himself to be that special? No offense, but I mean, he's one in a million, how there's one in a million BR Class 08 diesels, and not gonna lie, I do love his rivalry between Diesel and Duck, especially a close shave for Duck, which was a pretty interesting episode. I love the crash as well, and I do like his friendship with Percy, and All at Sea is probably one of my favorite Duck-centered episodes because of the message that it teaches. It's very beautiful. It's a very beautiful episode. Although, there are some moments where I don't really care for Duck that much. Yes, I think he's pretty cool, but what is there to say about Duck that hasn't been said? If you all love Duck, please tell me in the comment section below, but I just thought I'd get this out of the way, since some people, probably aren't the biggest fan of Duck, considering that he goes on and on about the Great Western Way and the wrong way, which can be irritating. But if you do love Duck, please tell me. And yes, Duck is one of my favorite characters as well. I can definitely see why a lot of people seem to love him. However, his friend Oliver, on the other hand, has a much better character trait than Duck. Rather than, boasting about the Great Western Way, Oliver has a more sadder backstory, because Oliver was, in his scrapyard on a siding, all rusted up, until the hero Douglas came along and rescued him. Oliver Owns Up is a pretty nice episode, and I do think the crash is also interesting. However, Toad Stands By, let me tell you, that was one of the best episodes of Thomas and Friends, from Season 4 at least. Considering that Oliver's being made fun of by the trucks, but Oliver, with the help of Toad, he manages to, show the trucks who is boss. And like Thomas 1, Edward 2, Henry 3 said in his video, Oliver is the Great Western MVP. No joke. The way he pulls Scruffy apart is insane and so brutal, and I love it. That's one way to give a truck some karma, or any antagonist for that matter, so. Not to mention, I think Oliver here came out very nice. Look at these models. Duck is another awesome one I've made, So for my N-Scale reviews, I'm probably going to talk about some of my favorite engines here in this series. And Duck and Oliver would be most of them. mostly just Oliver, because he has the better personality and a much more richer history than Duck. Like, he's more layered. I do like that he's based off of a 14XX, and I love his handrail details and all of, like, he has a pretty cool design, and especially that wheel arrangement. Like, look at this guy. He's so cool. I love Oliver so much. If you do love Oliver, please tell me in the comments. And I want you to, like, comment down below. Out of these two, which one do you prefer, Duck or Oliver? Personally, I would say Oliver, because he has a better character personality. Alright, and speaking of the truck's leader, I just thought I'd bring them up, because I can't mention Oliver without Scruffy here. And Oliver's companion brake van, Toad. So, let's talk about Scruffy first. So, Scruffy, oh boy, he's pretty cool. Like, I think he's a pretty cool antagonist to go against Oliver here. Like, since Oliver's being made fun of by the trucks since they played a trick on him, but still, I like how Oliver comes on top and just tears Scruffy apart. And in terms of overall design for here, like, this has to be my favorite piece of rolling stock I've made. Like, one of my favorites as well. Like, that face is very well painted. Like, honestly, like, whenever I paint Scruffy, I always gave him buck teeth for some reason. But it turns out that Scruffy actually had a full set of teeth before some stones came and, like, messed them up. So now he has this little, like, one little tooth on the bottom of his jaw, which is pretty, like, he has a pretty interesting face. It's honestly pretty cool. And I painted him orange to, like, resemble the rust on him. Like, I think it's rust and his orange lining. Now, I know I forgot to add his lettering, but I could not write that small, because, like, look how small he is in my hand. Do you really think I'm going to be able to, like, be that good using a toothpick? Like, honestly, I'm too scared of trying, because I'm going to mess up. But if you do like Scruffy, please tell me in the comments below. Scruffy is an absolute legend, and I wish he never appeared in only one episode. That's the same problem I have with Class 40, the Lorries, Bertram, Smudger, etc. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of one-off characters. Not because they're bad, but because they had so much potential. And that's one of the reasons why I despise all the characters from the hit era, except for, like, Rosie with Stanley and Rocky, because they had more appearances and better characters than some that I won't talk about. And I can't forget about Toad as well. Like, honestly, George Carlin does a pretty nice Toad voice, and so does Alec Baldwin, but I think Carlin's is better. And Busy Going Backwards especially, that was one of my favorite episodes of Season 5. And not to mention, Toad Stands By is probably like Oliver's best episode from Season 4, like, or just in general. I mean, Oliver's Find is pretty beautiful. Busy Going Backwards is awesome. Snow Engine is pretty nice, although, like, there's some other Season 7 episodes I consider my favorite. Like, I really love Season 7. Though I'm sure many people will say that Season 5 is their favorite. But these three all together, like, Oliver and Toad here, and just Scruffy, like, egging Oliver on, and Oliver just pulling him apart, like, still, words cannot describe how much I love Toad Stands By. It's a pretty nice episode as well. I could definitely see why Thomas I, Edward II, Henry III likes this. And also, Thomas I, Edward II, Henry III, if you happen to be watching this, I really hope you like this Ends Kill Oliver, and I know how much you love Toad Stands By, and I agree with you. So, I mean, that's probably the first time I've ever mentioned him. Like, I really love Thomas I, Edward II, Henry III. He's an awesome YouTuber. Go subscribe to him now. Alright. Now let's talk about the Caledonian twins, Donald and Douglas. Again, another of my favorite characters. So if you're wondering why Donald and Douglas have different faces, they're based off the Tomy engines. And for those of you who are asking why they're painted blue, it's because they're from the Railway series. And let's be honest, their blue liveries do really stick out more because, like, blue is my favorite color. I mean, black is not that bad of a color. Like, I think black is a nice color for an engine, like Diesel, for example. But their black liveries were pretty cool, but I do like the decision of them, like, being repainted so that they fit more into Sodor. And here's one thing I don't understand. How do you mistake these two for Edward here? Like, I know most people can't tell these engines apart, but for me, like, even though they're basically different designs than Edward, and they're the same color, they're still easy. I bet they did this just for merchandise, so that way kids could tell them apart, and so parents could tell them apart as well. I know not everyone's gonna, like, immediately, like, compare these details, but I'm just one of those people who, like, just likes to go in depth. Like, I like to see, like, everything about Thomas and Friends and, like, how everything goes, and, like, I honestly found it weird that the show had a low budget for, like, most situations. Like, they couldn't adapt Percy's Promise until later. They only made Flying Scotsman's 2 tenors and not the actual front of the locomotive. At some point, they were going to add Big City Engine, but they just canceled him. And the biggest example of all is that Hero of the Rails, believe it or not, was supposed to be a model series movie, but unfortunately they just used full CGI. And while I do understand the reason why, I think it would have been cool if we got the model series from Hero of the Rails, and if we got to see Stanley have a bigger role. Alright. We have like about half of 10 minutes left, so half of 20 minutes left, so I'm gonna go ahead and... Okay, I cannot bring up this guy, like, I can't wait to bring him up, because, like, this guy over here is one of my all-time favorite engines of the show. And you all know him well, Stepney, the Blue Bell engine. And if you know that famous meme, oh, hi, Stepney, then honestly, gold star, because, like, I think Milky Thomas and whoever else did this, like, trilogy meme, like, they're pretty funny guys, and... Hold on. Honestly, I think I should, like... Actually, I'll wait later. But I just want to get Stepney out of the way, because, like, this is another one of my favorite N-scale models I made. Just look at his design. And now, his story arc is pretty cool, although I understand why most people aren't a fan of Rusty to the Rescue, because... But I don't know why that is, though. Like, I think Rusty to the Rescue was a pretty nice episode, because you got Rusty saving an engine from scrap, and those are some of my favorite episodes, and one of the reasons why I love Hero of the Rails. Now, originally, Stepney's first story was Blue Bells of England from the Railway series, although I never read it, so I don't know what happens in there, but Train Stops Play was pretty fun. I love Caroline the car, and George Carlin's Caroline voice was so amazing, especially when he goes, toot, toot! That's my favorite line. Bowled Out was pretty cool as well. Okay, the face D261 makes when he breaks down is just hilarious. Like, I love his, like, shocked face or, like, upset face from D261. And Stepney Gets Lost was the last time we ever heard Stepney speak, so... But even then, Stepney's still pretty cool. Okay, so... While I'm on the topic of Donald Douglas, I thought I'd add a bonus character here. Excuse me 1 second. Okay, I can't talk about Donald Douglas without talking about the Spiteful Brake Van, because, like, this is another one of my favorite pieces of rolling stock I've ever made. And, like, I love the rivalry between Donald Douglas and this brake van, and how Douglas literally pulls him apart, like how Oliver did to Scruffy. But yeah, not much to say, because he's a one-off character, but I just thought I'd mention him. Okay, now let's talk about the second to last on this list. Now, I don't know if he's actually a fan favorite or not, but I just thought I'd bring him up. Duke the Lost Engine. Now, I was going to talk about him in my Narrow Gauge Engines video, but I think Duke needs more recognition, because, like, I don't really talk that much about him, because what else is there to say about him? I think that Duke has one of the best stories in terms of the Narrow Gauge Engines. I love how he's the perfect father figure to Sir Handel and Peter Sam. I think their relationship where they just bicker with each other is pretty funny, and honestly, him being a father figure is just so wholesome. And not to mention, I think that Duke has probably the saddest backstory in Thomas and Friends, because he was left in a shed for years since no one bought him, and then trees and plants grew all around him, and bushes, which was pretty dark. And then years later, they went and found him, and Duke's like, "Are you a vandal?" That was a pretty funny line. And I love that they brought him home and restored him. The other episodes like Bulldog and You Can't Win are some of the best ones as well. Since Duke literally like saves Falcon from being Godred 2.0. And he plays a good trick on Stuart whenever he's being teased for being old. Anyways, if you like Duke, please tell me in the comments. Not to mention, like, I like how he's probably the only narrow gauge tender engine. Unless you count Bertram from Toby's Discovery. Who's basically just a recolor of Duke with Smudger's face. And honestly, I do wish Duke came back. Now, the final character, on the other hand, I bet you're all going to recognize who this guy is. I know everyone's been wanting this guy to come back, and I know how much people love him so much. That is Boko. Oh boy, Boko. Now this guy is such a legend character in my opinion. Like, one of the best diesel engines as well. So, I mean, I know he's basically the same as Edward, where he's just the voice of reason, and, like, he tries to keep Bill and Ben in order, but come on, Boke was pretty cool. Like, his design being, like, this, having this Kobo wheel arrangement, which is pretty clever. The fact that he shares the same face with Daisy is pretty interesting. And also, like, his overall character, like, it's something about Boko that a lot of people seem to really love, and the reason why Boko keeps appearing more in the fan-written episodes. Like, yeah, there are a lot of Thomas fans who, like, write their own original stories, and I really appreciate that. Because we're keeping the legacy of Thomas and Friends alive, even if all engines go ruined at all. Anyways, I mean, I really don't know, like, if I can talk about anything else about Boko, but I just thought I'd bring him up, because, like, a lot of people really love him, and he's pretty nice as well, and I do wish that he came back. Like, his overall appearance just makes him very loved for some reason. Like, it may be because, like, has a pretty cool design. Maybe it's because, like, the Diesel is a pretty funny and fun episode, and it's nice seeing that Bill and Ben play a trick on Boko, and I love how naive and gullible Bill and Ben are sometimes. Like, they don't understand some things, and the way they make up words is just pretty cool. And, I mean, also, his last appearance was double teething troubles, and I also don't know why they didn't bring Boko back after this point. You'd think they'd give him more recognition since everyone loves him so much. Heck, he appeared way more in Season 3 because they wanted to bring more focus on characters like Donald and Douglas since they never got more screen time. They only appeared in Break Van, The Deputation, Thomas Comes to Breakfast, and Missing Christmas Tree. Only 4 episodes, so I understand why they gave them more screen time. And why do you think it's pretty weird to, like, have Oliver Owns Up and Toad Stands By in 2 separate seasons? Oliver's character arc is still awesome. Anyways, I think that's all I have to say about Boko. But if you like Boko, please tell me. Alright, so those were all the fan favorite, or at least who I think are the fan favorite Thomas engines. Although I think I might be a little right here because, like, a lot of people really love Duck, Donald, Douglas, and Boko and Oliver. But Stepney and Duke, I honestly think they might be fan favorites. I don't know. Although, if you do think they're fan favorites, please tell me in the comments below. I really love Stepney and Duke. I mean, I just thought I'd bring them up since everyone seems to really love them, and I completely see why. So, who was your favorite of this series, of this video? Sorry if I'm getting mixed up. Personally, I love Stepney, like, and Duck and all of them. Like, I think my skills at 3D printing and painting have gotten better, and I'm honestly happy that I've started a new end scale project, because, like, this is going to be so fun to make and complete. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!